The theories behind the development of the integrated model of personality. Video 2, Behaviorist theory. Behavioristic personality theory. Behaviorists posit that our personality, behavior, is a function of the person and the environment. Behavioristic personality theory. The behaviorists believe that behavior can be learned. We learn by our experiences. We also learn by observing others in action. Behavioristic personality theory. Behavioristic theorists believe that human personality can be best understood by our learning, cognition and the laws in the natural environment. They focus on objectively observable behaviors and discount the interplay of the psyche of the psychodynamic theorists. Behavioristic personality theory. Behavior theorists define learning as nothing more than the acquisition of new behavior based on environmental conditions. Stimulus-response theory. The oldest theory of behaviorism dates back to René Descartes. He introduced the stimulus-response theory. The stimulus-response theory posits that a pleasant stimulus will evoke a pleasant response. Stimulus, response. The environment is perceived as a set of stimuli. For an individual to interact, response. The response between the individual and the stimuli of the environment provides an avenue for us to learn from our actions. Dollard and Miller. Dollard and Miller's stimulus-response theory. Focusing on the law of action, response, and reactions, stimuli, in the natural environment. Ivan Pavlov's classical conditioning. Ivan Pavlov's classical conditioning in his drooling dog experiments developed a technique used in behavioral training in which a naturally occurring stimulus is paired with a response. Next, a previously neutral stimulus is paired with a naturally occurring stimulus. Eventually, the previously neutral stimulus comes to evoke the response without the presence of the naturally occurring stimulus. The two elements are then known as the conditioned stimulus and the conditioned response. Skinner operant conditioning. Skinner's operant condition using pigeons and rats in his experiment developed a method of learning that occurs through rewards and punishments for behavior through operant conditioning. An association is made between a behavior and a consequence for that behavior. Edward Thorndike's in his experiment on cats advanced two laws of learning to explain why behaviors occur the way they do. The law of effect specifies that any time a behavior is followed by a pleasant outcome, that behavior is likely to recur. The law of exercise states that the more a stimulus is connected with a response, the stronger the link between stimulus and response. John Watson. Behaviorism is the scientific study of human behavior. Its real goal is to provide the basis for prediction and control of human beings, given the situation, to tell what the human being will do, given the man in action, to be able to say why he is reacting in that way. John Watson. He posits that learning is a long-term change in behavior that is based on experiences. He believed that all individual differences in behavior were due to different experiences of learning. Contributions of the behaviorist theories. Behavior can be learned. It provides us a method and choice to reinforce our positive behavior and defreeze our negative behavior. Contributions of the behaviorist theories. It provides a medium for personality changes for better or for worse. Behavior can be modified, reinforced, strengthened, sustained, diminish, and defreeze. Contributions of the behaviorist theories. Behavior can be nurtured and shaped. It helps us to predict, motivate, direct, and control the behavior of a significant other. Contributions of the behaviorist theory. It provides explanations of human behavior based on associations made between stimuli, or rewards and punishments. Contributions of the behaviorist theory. Behaviorist approach has successfully applied classical and operant conditioning to its theories. Systematic desensitization is based on classical conditioning and is useful for treating phobias. Contributions of the behaviorist theory. Behaviorist approach uses scientific methods of research. This is a strength because the experiments are objective, measurable and observable. Contributions of the behaviorist theory. Recognizes the role of situational and environmental variables in influencing behavior. Contributions of the behaviorist theory. Provides a variety of reliable therapy techniques. Contributions of the behaviorist theory. Uses experimental methodology to test data and establish cause and effect relationships. Limitations of behaviorism. It does not predict human difference as it does not classify human into personality traits or types. Limitations of behaviorism. The approach is nomothetic in that it is investigating animals and people to try to find general laws of behavior that apply to both people and brutes. It is not geographic and is unable to help us to understand and describe the unique patterns of behavior of an individual. Limitations of the behaviorist theory. Behaviorist approach focuses too much on the assumption that behavior is learned by observing others. It has neglected the cognitive and biological elements that have been proved to affect behavior. Limitations of the behaviorist theory. It dehumanizes human being to the same level as animals by using animals in its experiments. Limitations of the behaviorist theory. By oversimplifies personality and neglects important phenomenon. It can only deals with simple behaviors. It cannot deal with complex behavior. Limitations of the behaviorist theory. Lacks a single, unified theory. Limitations of behaviorism. It excludes the functions of the human psyche and its mental processes of explaining human behavior. Limitations of behaviorism. It assumes that the behavior of animals can be applied to describe human beings. This assumption is debated by the cognitive theorists. That there is a gap for the intellect, mind, to mediate between stimulus and response. Limitations of behaviorism. It is unable to explain complex behavior where an individual response to stimuli varies with the situations and across time. Limitations of behaviorism. It is unable to explain and classify the typology of personality disorders. Conclusion. In view of its limitations, there is a need to incorporate the behaviorist theories with other schools of personality theories to have a more accurate prediction of human differences. Next video, Humanistic Theory of Personality. Please subscribe Kaiko, a recipe for success.